Hello, welcome to another video. Please like, share and subscribe for more amazing story. True God in Another Worlds, Tensura x Tbate, by Tempest_King_20. Chapter 52 Whispers of War Sira Crestless Pav. As I walked leisurely around the academy, relishing the rare moment of respite from the cacophony of political strife, raucous parties, the incessant demands of my family, and the relentless pursuit of potential suitors, I couldn't help but be overwhelmed with gratitude for the serenity that enveloped me. The academy grounds, with their sprawling expanse of manicured gardens and meticulously tended flower beds, served as a sanctuary, a haven of tranquility amidst the tempestuous storm that defined my existence. Born into the bosom of a prominent noble lineage, my life had always been entangled in the web of politics and societal expectations. From an early age, I had been groomed to bear the weight of my family's reputation, to present myself as the epitome of refinement and desirability, a suitable match for a powerful suitor. But within the nurturing embrace of the academy, I found solace, a refuge where I could cast off the suffocating shackles of society. The gardens, with their riotous display of vibrant blooms and meandering pathways, offered a respite from the stifling confines of my privileged yet confining existence. As a gentle breeze caressed my cheeks, it carried with it a whisper of liberation, a taste of freedom that eluded me in the clamor of everyday life. I really have to thank my teacher for that. If she hadn't suggested me to do this mission, I wouldn't have found this haven of peace. My mentor had always been a guiding light in my life. She saw the potential in me beyond the societal expectations and encouraged me to explore my own passions and interests. My musings were abruptly interrupted by a disturbance in the flow of mana. Instinctively, I quickened my pace, driven by a curiosity to uncover the source of this disruption. As I neared a secluded corner of the academy grounds, I saw a group of students, specifically, noble human students, bullying two elven girls. Even when one of the boys conjured fire to scare them, the noble students were sneering and taunting the elven girls, their demeanors brimming with arrogance and entitlement. The elven girls, in contrast, stood with their heads held high, their faces a mask of stoicism as they endured the cruel words and gestures. My heart clenched at the sight, a wave of indignation washing over me as I witnessed the injustice unfolding before me. This again, I sighed and put my palms on my forehead, frustration bubbling within me. It was a scene I had witnessed far too often, the blatant discrimination and harassment towards those who were different from the majority. Despite my initial inclination to see what the two elven girls would do, a sense of responsibility compelled me to intervene before this simple problem escalated. With determination, I took a step forward, my footsteps echoing through the corridor. The sound caught the attention of both the two elven girls, causing them to turn their heads simultaneously. Their gazes locked with mine, and in that moment, I could see a mixture of surprise, relief, and curiosity reflected in their eyes. "Enough!" I exclaimed, my voice resonating with authority as I addressed the bullies. "What do you think you're doing? Harassing these girls? They have every right to be here, just as much as you do." The students turned to me, visibly taken aback by my sudden appearance. Their expressions ranged from confusion to annoyance, but I could also sense an underlying arrogance, the entitlement that they believed justified their mistreatment of others. One of the boys, a smug expression plastered across his face, scoffed and retorted, "And who are you to tell us what to do?" I raised an eyebrow, my patience wearing thin. Despite these brats knowing that I was a member of the student council, they dared to challenge me and make a mockery of the authority I held. "Looks like you're still doing a good job, Sira," a whispered voice in my ear sent a shiver down my spine, causing me to jump slightly in surprise. I turned my head to find the leader of the disciplinary committee, Rimuru, standing beside me. His mere presence commanded respect, and I knew better than to underestimate him. I couldn't sense his presence, I noted in my mind, quickly regaining my composure. Straightening my posture, I directed my full attention to Rimuru, disregarding the bullies and the two elven girls for the moment. "Captain Rimuru," I greeted him with a nod, acknowledging his authority. "What brings you here?" "What? Can't I just take a leisurely stroll around the academy?" he responded with a playful grin, his eyes twinkling mischievously. "Of course, Captain," I replied, striving to maintain a balance between formality and friendliness. "I just didn't anticipate running into you here." Rimuru chuckled softly and gestured towards the bullies. "Seems like I arrived just in time to witness a little drama, huh? So, what's happening here?" The group of boys' bravado evaporated under the intense gaze of Rimuru. As the weight of his presence settled upon them, their playful banter withered away, leaving them stuttering and struggling to find words. It was as if a heavy weight had settled upon their shoulders, causing their shoulders to slump and their expressions to shift from cockiness to unease. "We were just messing around, no big deal," one of them mumbled, his voice barely audible above the hushed whispers that had replaced their earlier boisterousness. Rimuru's expression turned serious, his brows furrowing as he took a deliberate step closer. "Messing around? Is that what you call harassing others?" Rimuru's voice was low and commanding, sliced through the air, demanding their attention. Each word carried weight, leaving no room for doubt or negotiation. It was a voice that brooked no disobedience. "It looks to me like you were using your size and numbers to intimidate them." The boys exchanged nervous glances, their faces growing pale with the realization that they were now standing on the precipice of a precarious situation. The weight of Rimuru's words settled heavily upon them, their previous arrogance evaporating like smoke in the wind. "Do I need to remind you what I said on the first day?" Rimuru's voice resonated with authority, its power unyielding. It carried a weight that bore down upon them, leaving no room for escape. "I'm sure that I made it clear that bullying and harassment would not be tolerated at this academy. Everyone, regardless of their background or differences, deserves to be treated with respect and dignity. So I'll ask you again, what do you think you're doing?" The silence that followed was palpable, stretching out into an eternity. It was broken only by the soft shuffling of feet and the boys' hesitant breathing. They lowered their heads, but I didn't know if this was out of embarrassment or fear of Rimuru. "Now give your names to Sira here." Rimuru's voice pierced through the heavy silence, his words filled with unwavering conviction. "Your punishment will be decided later." As the boys reluctantly provided their names, their voices barely above a whisper, I quickly took note of them, my pen scratching against the paper as I documented the incident for future reference. Rimuru, satisfied with their compliance, turned his attention to the two elven girls who had been the target of the harassment. The weight of his gaze shifted, his expression softening as he approached them. "Sharia, Emilia, are you good?" Rimuru asked as he looked at the two elven girls. "Yes, we are fine. You didn't need our help." One of the elves, the one with orange hair, replied with a small smile as she looked at Rimuru, her voice gentle and reassuring. They seemed to know each other personally. "Well, my mission is to maintain security and peace in this academy," Rimuru replied, returning the smile. The other girl, with the long silver hair shimmering in the sunlight, chimed in. "It's good to know that you, Rimuru, were the one given this mission," she said, admiration evident in her voice. She regarded Rimuru with a mix of awe and affection, the depth of their friendship evident in the way they interacted. "But I wish I hadn't had it. It's a tiring and annoying task to deal with such situations," Rimuru replied as he scratched the back of his head. The two elven girls shared a soft laugh, their melodic voices blending harmoniously. Rimuru's smile widened, their laughter bringing a sense of lightness to the moment. As the laughter subsided, Sharia and Emilia turned their attention towards me, acknowledging my presence. "Thank you for stepping in, Sira. We appreciate your help," the elf with orange hair expressed, her voice laced with genuine gratitude. "I am Sharia and this is my friend, Emilia. We are Rimuru's friends." "It's a pleasure to meet you, Sharia and Emilia," I responded, extending a hand in greeting. "I'm grateful to have had the opportunity to assist." Sharia and Emilia reached out, their hands meeting mine in a firm handshake. "Thank you, Sira. Your intervention was timely, and we are grateful for your support," Sharia conveyed, her voice filled with sincerity. Before I could respond, Emilia interjected, a mischievous glimmer in her silver eyes. "Now, if you'll excuse us, we have a class, and we don't want to be late, more than Sharia delayed us already," she teased, a playful smile dancing on her lips as she bowed slightly before leaving. Sharia's eyes widened, her face flushing with embarrassment. "Wait, what do you mean by that?" she exclaimed, her voice filled with mock indignation as she hurriedly followed her friend. Rimuru let out a soft chuckle as he watched the two elves scurry off playfully, their laughter echoing through the sprawling grounds of the academy. The sunlight filtered through the canopy of trees, casting a warm glow on their radiant faces. As they disappeared around a bend, Rimuru turned around, a knowing smile playing at the corners of his lips. I hastened my steps to catch up to him, my curiosity piqued by the unexpected sight. This is surprising, I said, my voice filled with genuine curiosity as I matched his pace. Rimuru glanced at me, his eyes filled with a hint of amusement. What is it? I glanced at him, my eyes reflecting genuine curiosity. I didn't expect you to have such a rapport with the elves, I admitted, my voice tinged with wonder. It had only been 3 days since the academy began, yet their interaction suggested a familiarity that went beyond mere acquaintanceship. A faint smile tugged at the corners of Rimuru's lips, his gaze returning to the path ahead, shielding his expression from my view. Well, due to some unique circumstances, I have formed many bonds with the Elven community since I was young, he replied, his voice tinged with a hint of nostalgia. The mention of unique circumstances piqued my curiosity further, but I held my tongue, the unspoken questions lingering in my mind. It has only been a few hours since I expressed my gratitude for your assistance with the DC problems, and already you've managed to resolve another problem, Rimuru remarked, his voice filled with a mix of amusement and admiration. He chuckled lightly, the sound blending harmoniously with the natural symphony surrounding us. Are you attempting to make a favorable impression on me? I matched his laughter with a small smile, my gaze fixed on his face. What if I were? Rimuru's eyes narrowed playfully, a flicker of mischief dancing within them, before he averted his gaze. Well, I must say, you're succeeding admirably, Sira. Keep up the good work. You have done even more work than your big brother. In this respect you are not very similar, Rimuru remarked, his voice contemplative. I must say this to you, Captain Rimuru. Although you and Arthur are twins, you are nothing alike, I said, as I remembered his brother. Rimuru had silver blue hair and golden eyes, while Arthur had brown hair and blue eyes. Rimuru let out a hearty laugh at my statement, the sound echoing through the air. Ha ha ha, you're right. However, we do have a lot of similar things. While I wouldn't say there's nothing similar between you, since I've only known you for 3 days, but I didn't see any similarity between you two yet, he replied, his tone thoughtful. I turned my gaze towards him, studying his face for any signs of judgment or skepticism. Rimuru's eyes met mine, his expression unreadable. Well, I'm not his real sister after all, I'm adopted, I said, choosing to reveal only part of the truth. Our parents were friends, so after my parents died, I was adopted by them. Rimuru looked at me, his gaze sharp and focused, as if he was trying to discern if I was lying. Instinctively, I took a step back, feeling vulnerable under his scrutiny. However, he seemed to accept my explanation without further inquiry. His face softened, and he offered a reassuring smile. I see. Well, family is not just about blood, it's about the bond you share. I didn't know how to respond, so I just nodded, grateful for his understanding. My adopted family did not really treat me like a daughter. Instead, they treated me as if I were a fragile glass vase that would shatter at the slightest touch. Their overprotectiveness stifled me, suffocated any sense of independence I had. If it weren't for my mentor, who saw my potential and guided me with unwavering support, I would still be trapped in that gilded palace, a mere bird in a gilded cage. Rimuru paused as I entered the room. A faint array of sounds filled the air. There was a soft rustling, almost like whispered conversations, coming from the other bed. I directed my attention towards Ellie and Sylvie, their figures barely distinguishable in the moonlit room. They lay intertwined, their arms wrapped around each other tightly. A sense of warmth and affection enveloped me, and a small smile appeared on my face as I admired the tender intimacy between them. Approaching the window, a cool breeze brushed against my skin, causing goosebumps to form on my arms. I extended my arm and gently closed the partially open window. The latch made a soft clicking sound, shutting out the outside world and creating a serene stillness in the room. The moonlight filtered through the sheer curtains, casting a gentle glow on the modest furnishings. With a gentle touch, I pulled the covers over Ellie and Sylvie, ensuring their comfort as they slept. Cute, I thought to myself as I watched them embrace. A fleeting feeling of regret washed over me, wishing I had a camera to capture the moment. However, I soon turned away from the scene and left the room. Stepping into the hallway, the moonlight softly illuminated the surroundings through the windows. The night embraced me, and a peaceful silence filled the air, interrupted only by the distant chirping of crickets. Taking a deep breath, I inhaled the crisp night air, feeling its refreshing touch on my skin. A sense of tranquility settled within me, grounding me in the present. I looked up, taking in the night sky adorned with countless twinkling stars. Their luminosity captivated me, casting a serene spell over the world below. Closing my eyes, I allowed myself to be immersed in the stillness, listening to the gentle rustling of leaves carried by the nocturnal breeze. In that fleeting moment, gratitude welled up within me. Gratitude for the simplicity and beauty of these quiet moments that life bestowed upon us. Amidst the chaos and frenzy of everyday life, it was these serene interludes that reminded me of the profound power of being present in the here and now. With a renewed sense of tranquility, I continued my walk towards Seal and Sylvia's common room. The usual bustling energy of the students had dissipated with the curfew, leaving behind an atmosphere of profound stillness and solitude. The absence of footsteps and voices only served to amplify the peace that enveloped the space. Reaching Seal and Sylvia's common room, I lightly tapped my knuckles against the door. The sound was barely audible, so as not to disturb the peaceful slumber of the neighboring rooms. "Hi," Sylvia's cheerful voice responded from inside the room. The door creaked open, revealing Sylvia herself. Her long, glossy hair cascaded down her back, still slightly damp from a recent shower. She wore comfortable nightclothes that accentuated her carefree demeanor. The soft fabric hugged her delicate curves, hinting at the beauty beneath. A playful glimmer sparkled in her eyes as she greeted me, her lips curving into a mischievous smile. "Hey, Rimuru, didn't expect to see you here so late. Come on in," she said, her voice carrying a pleasant tone that matched her cheerful demeanor. I sighed inwardly, my gaze involuntarily shifting to her attire. "Before we get started, why don't you change into something more appropriate?" Sylvia glanced down at her nightclothes, a mischievous sparkle in her eyes growing stronger. "Oh, Rimuru, are you blushing? Am I making you uncomfortable?" she teased, her voice tinged with amusement. Rolling my eyes at her playful antics, "Just go put on some clothes, Sylvia. You know better than to answer the door like that," I admonished, my voice carrying a hint of exasperation. She laughed, a melodious sound that filled the room with joy, and disappeared back into the room. After a few moments, she returned, now donning a comfortable t-shirt and shorts. "Satisfied now?" she asked, her grin widening, a playful challenge in her eyes. I nodded appreciatively, stepping into the room. I looked around, searching for Seal, but she was nowhere to be found. The room had a cozy atmosphere, with soft lighting casting a warm glow. The air carried a faint scent of Sylvia's favorite candles, creating a peaceful environment. "If you're wondering about Seal, she's taking a shower. She won't be long," Sylvia informed me, her voice filled with a comforting warmth, as she settled into a chair in front of the fancy mirror. "I see," I acknowledged Sylvia's words and shifted my attention to her. She ran a comb through her damp hair, the repetitive strokes accentuated by the moonlight filtering into the room. The moon's gentle glow added a subtle radiance to her flawless skin, highlighting the delicate contours of her face. "So, what brings you here at this late hour?" Sylvia asked, her voice filled with curiosity before her face turned into mock shock. "Don't tell me you want to do I." Reacting swiftly, I playfully intercepted her remark with a mock karate move. I lightly placed my hand on her head to mimic a strike, ensuring no harm would befall her. "Don't even go there, Sylvia." Sylvia chuckled, though she instinctively rubbed the spot where my hand had made contact. "Ouch, okay, I'll behave." "So, what's up?" she asked, her amusement still evident in her voice, now mixed with genuine curiosity. Instead of responding, I gently took the comb from Sylvia's hand. With a tender touch, I began to comb her hair, relishing the sensation of the silky strands gliding through my fingers. The room filled with a calm ambiance, the soft rustling of the comb blending with our quiet breaths. Sylvia observed my actions with surprise and amusement. "For a man, you really know how to do this." I chuckled softly, keeping my focus on the task at hand. "For a woman, you don't even know how to comb your hair." "Shut up. I never had to do that before. It was the servants who took care of that," Sylvia confessed, her cheeks slightly blushing. Her shyness only added to my amusement, and I couldn't help but laugh, though it earned me a slight frown from Sylvia in return. "Well, Ellie and Lily were forcing me to do it, and even Seal joined in. So, you can rest assured that I'm well practiced, Princess," I reassured her, a gentle smile on my lips. "Then I guess I'll have to thank them for teaching you some basic skills then," she replied, leaning back in her chair as I continued to comb her hair. Sylvia sobbed and relaxed in her chair, surrendering herself to the experience. As I continued to comb her hair, the room fell into a comfortable silence, interrupted only by the rhythmic sound of the comb gliding through her locks. The air carried a sense of tranquility and intimacy, as if time itself had slowed down to savor this peaceful moment. Occasionally, our eyes will meet in the reflection of the mirror, and a sense of connection passed between us. In those moments, time seemed to slow down, and the outside world faded away, leaving only the two of us. Lost in the rhythm of the comb gliding through her hair, I couldn't help but reflect on the journey that had brought us to this moment. From strangers thrown together by circumstance to trusted companions, our paths had intertwined in ways neither of us could have predicted. As I slowly ran the comb through Sylvia's hair, the soft sound of the comb gliding through the strands filled the room. A small smile appeared on my face as I stepped back, taking a moment to appreciate the change I had made. "What do you think?" I asked, feeling a mixture of anticipation and satisfaction. Sylvia turned to face me, her smile brightened her face, and her eyes filled with gratitude. "I think you did an excellent job, thank you," she said, running her fingers through her now well-groomed and shiny hair. A sense of warmth washed over me as I replied, "You're welcome, Princess." Seeing her happiness was reward enough, and I took a moment to enjoy the sight of her admiring herself in the mirror. Just as the moment settled into a comfortable silence, a familiar voice broke the tranquility. "Ah, Rimuru, there you are." I turned towards the sound and saw Seal standing at the slightly open bathroom door. She was dressed in comfortable sleepwear. "Yes, I need to tell you something important," I said, my tone serious. I sat down on Ciel's bed, moving for them to join me, feeling the mattress sink under my weight. Sensing the gravity of the situation, both Sylvia and Ciel assumed serious expressions as they settled into chairs across from me. Their eyes locked onto mine, searching for answers, as they waited for me to speak. "What happened?" Ciel cautiously inquired. "It's about Jackson and the others," I began, my voice tinged with a mixture of regret and urgency. I told them about Alacria and the impending war." Sylvia's face registered shock and confusion, her eyes widening in disbelief. "What? Why? We agreed not to disclose that information yet," she interjected, her surprise evident in her voice. "I know," I sighed, my shoulders slumping in defeat. "But I had no choice." I paused, my gaze shifting to the worn wooden floor. Kyle and Kyla stumbled upon something unexpected. They encountered a group of Alacria soldiers in the depths of the last dungeon we explored. "The dungeon we completely destroyed." Ciel's voice cut through the tense air, her disbelief apparent. I nodded solemnly. "But we made sure none of them were left," Ciel said, her tone reflecting her disbelief. "Yes, but it seems they had sent a team to investigate," I explained, frustration seeping into my words. "They must have arrived shortly after we left." The room felt suffocating, as if the weight of our secret was pressing down on us. Sylvia furrowed her brows, her face displaying worry. "Did they discover anything else?" she asked, her voice tinged with apprehension. "No, thankfully," I reassured her, a glimmer of relief flickering within me. "But Julia overheard me discussing the impending war with Gideon. With the recent incidents in the dungeon, they managed to put two and two together." A crease formed on Ciel's brow as she processed the information. "So, they found out because of your mistake?" She raised an eyebrow, her tone tinged with reproach. "I hope you don't see it that way," I responded, feeling somewhat sheepish. Sylvia couldn't help but release a gentle chuckle at our exchange, momentarily easing the tension that had settled among us. Sylvia's gaze turned contemplative as she pondered the situation. The flickering candlelight cast shifting shadows on her face, emphasizing the lines of concern etched there. "So, does everyone know?" she inquired, her voice softer now. I nodded solemnly, my throat tightening with a mix of guilt and worry. "Yes, everyone, except for Lloyd, Anna, and Lena, of course," I clarified. "They were still too young, too innocent to bear the weight of this knowledge." "That's understandable," Sylvia murmured, her voice filled with compassion. "They're still too young to handle what's ahead." Ciel nodded in agreement, her serious expression softening for a moment. "So what's the plan?" Ciel asked, breaking the brief silence that followed. I ran a hand through my hair, frustration creeping into my tone. "I don't know," I confessed, the uncertainty weighing heavily on me. "I still don't know Agronna's intentions for the academy, And we haven't come across any signs of Alacria's spies. They haven't made a move yet, and we're in the dark about when they will strike. A thick silence settled upon the room, burdened by the weight of our shared knowledge and the looming uncertainty that lay ahead. We were conscious of an impending storm, yet we found ourselves inadequately equipped to face its imminent impact. Agrona, known for his mastery of secrecy, delighted in the power of the unknown. He kept his plans carefully concealed, frustrating our attempts to gain even the slightest insight. Sylvia, despite her best efforts, struggled to extract any meaningful information. It seemed that Agrona had taken great care to guard his intentions, even from his closest confidants. This deliberate strategy of concealment cast a dark shadow over our chances of success. Ignorance became a weapon used against us, leaving us at a disadvantage. As long as Agrona's plans remained hidden, failure appeared inevitable. We were reminded of the saying, ignorance does to its owner what the enemy does to its enemy. The frustration of not knowing Agrona's true objectives gnawed at our determination, threatening to undermine our every move. However, we recognized that we couldn't allow his mysterious cloak to dictate our actions. We needed to rise above our limitations and take a proactive approach, tirelessly gathering every available piece of information to unravel and thwart his nefarious schemes. One undeniable truth persisted amidst the uncertainty. Agrona was a formidable adversary. His cunning and ruthlessness had already brought chaos and destruction to our world, leaving a trail of devastation in his wake. And yet, it seemed that his malevolent influence was only beginning, hinting at even greater darkness to come. Lost in my thoughts, Sylvia's voice broke the silence, bringing me back to the present. Should we ask her? She inquired, a glimmer of hope in her tone. Raising an eyebrow skeptically, I regarded Sylvia with doubt. Do you truly believe she will reveal anything substantial? I questioned, my voice tinged with cynicism. Sylvia's expression hardened, her eyes filled with determination. Listen, Rimuru, she replied firmly. I understand your reservations, but I assure you, she can be trusted. And the proof is right in front of you. She gestured towards herself, emphasizing her unwavering faith in her own judgment. I shrugged nonchalantly, a mix of skepticism and curiosity lingering in my mind. That doesn't guarantee anything, Sylvia, I remarked, my tone tinged with indifference. Besides, even if she knows something, it's highly unlikely that she possesses the exact details of his plans. A flicker of frustration crossed Sylvia's face, briefly revealing her emotions. You may have a point, she conceded, disappointed evident in her voice. But we can't afford to dismiss any potential source of information. Agrona is cunning, and we need every advantage we can get. Pausing for a moment, I weigh the options before us, considering the risks and potential rewards. Finally, I relented, recognizing the importance of exploring all possibilities. Fine, I acquiesced, my tone tinged with resignation. Go ahead and ask her. Although I remain skeptical, I understand the gravity of leaving no stone unturned. With a sigh, I reclined on the edge of Ciel's bed, the faded sheets offering a semblance of comfort in the midst of uncertainty. Ciel gracefully joined me, settling by my side and cradling my head in her lap. Her touch, gentle and reassuring, provides a soothing balm amidst the turbulence that envelopes us. With a sigh, I lay down on the Ciel's bed, the worn sheets offering a hint of comfort amid the uncertainty. Ciel joined me, settling down beside me and gently supporting my head in her lap. Her touch provides a soothing presence amid the turmoil that surrounds us. I'll leave the diplomacy to you, Princess, I whispered, a playful note in my voice, attempting to lighten the heavy atmosphere. Sylvia's lips curved into a small smile. Gratitude shines in her eyes as she nods in acknowledgement. You won't regret this, she assured me, her words filled with hope.